Now we're going to start the show with a subject we rarely touch on and one that is very controversial. We're talking about whether people's faith should have a place in business, and it's all related to the recent election of Donald Trump. Now we sent our reporter Azhar Sukri to Des Moines, Iowa, where he met a Christian couple who say they lost their business because they couldn't comply with gay rights legislation. They, like 80% of America's white evangelical Christians, voted for Donald Trump.
It's hard to believe that this church in a quiet suburb of Des Moines became part of a fierce debate that helped shape this month's US presidential election. It's a microcosm of the tussle between liberal values and the backlash against them that Donald Trump used to clinch victory. Dick and Betty Odgaard owned the church and surrounding properties for 13 years. They'd built a thriving business here, hosting weddings, running a restaurant, and even flower arranging. But when a gay couple approached them to host their wedding, the Odgaards refused, saying it went against their religious beliefs. The gay couple won a civil complaint based on Iowa's anti-LGBT discrimination laws, and the Odgaards found themselves vilified by their own community. They eventually decided to sell everything and move.
Since we turned that down overnight, we became haters and bigots and racists and everything that we're not.
During the course of our ownership, the laws changed, and the folks that living in the gay lifestyle were permitted to marry, and we were required then to participate as business owners and providers of wedding services. Then we were required to participate. Otherwise get sued for discrimination.
Your story is powerful, your story is inspirational.
One of the candidates for the Republican nomination, Ted Cruz, featured the Odgaards in a campaign video to highlight what many conservatives feel.
And it inspires millions of believers of many faiths across this country, who want to live in a land where we're free to live out according to our faith and our convictions, and it's not second-guessed by the government stepping in saying, we don't share your faith.
American society has become more liberal over the last decade, and communities like this have started to feel more and more alienated in the process, and that in turn has had an impact on their livelihoods and businesses. Several much larger corporations have also been caught up in the tussle between liberals and conservatives, and some have been fighting back. 2 years ago, the Supreme Court ruled that company owners can use their religious beliefs to opt out of providing insurance cover for female contraceptives. One of the two companies that brought the case was Hobby Lobby, a chain of craft stores owned by a devout Christian family. Democrats have begun the long process of figuring out why they lost the election. It's people like the Odgaards who are likely to provide at least part of the answer. Azhar Sukri, TRT World, Des Moines, Iowa.
And Azhar joins us in the studio now. Azhar, the Odgaards and 80% of evangelicals voted for Donald Trump. Has he given any indication that he's actually sympathetic to their cause?
Oh, very much so. He has said that he's going to sign into law something called the First Amendment Defense Bill. This actually seeks to enshrine in law some of the things that we just heard about in that package, defending the rights of people who believe in a union between one man and one woman, and people on the other side, of course, people who defend LGBT rights and everything. So they say that this is actually a discriminatory law, if it comes into law, that would actually reverse years of progress. So yes, Donald Trump has come out very strongly in support of such legislation and defending such rights.
So we'll see if he puts this on the big pile of later policies or the scrapping,
yeah,
whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, the
Odgaards,
exactly. The Odgaards lost their battle in court, but the companies you mentioned towards the end of your report actually got the Supreme Court's backing not to pay for female contraception. What's the difference between the two cases?
It is an interesting distinction there. I mean, the odd guards are the little guy, the people that Donald Trump has come out and said he's going to defend. The interesting thing about the Hobby Lobby case is that this is a very large corporation. It's run by a chap called David Green, who's a multi-billionaire.
Right.
And he had the legal and financial clout to take it all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won. So in a way, this kind of feeds into Donald Trump's own narrative.
Right. I think so. The best justice money can buy. Okay. Azhar Sukri, thank you very much for that.